A ripple cuts across the pond, and the spider does not move. It sits where the wet dock meets the water, legs spread wide over dark boards and floating green leaves, so still it could be mistaken for a stain until the light catches the shape of it. Long legs, low body, a shadow with joints, the kind of spider that makes a hand reach for a shoe, a broom, a can of spray, anything. Then another ripple touches its front legs. Nothing else happens. That is what makes it worse at first. It is not hiding in a corner. It is not tangled in a web. It is out in the open, balanced at the edge of a pond, as if the surface of the water belongs to it. A fly lands nearby, lifts off, and vanishes into the reeds. A mosquito trembles above the dock. The spider remains fixed in place, every leg arranged like a wire, listening for a signal. This is the moment when fear usually makes the decision. A giant spider near the dock feels like an intruder. It is too close to bare feet, too close to children, too close to the place where someone sits with a fishing pole or lowers a hand into the water. Its size seems like evidence. Its speed, when it finally moves, feels like proof. And because most people only notice spiders when they are startled by them, the first instinct is simple. Kill it before it comes closer. But that instinct is aiming at the wrong animal. This is not a house spider lost on the dock. It is not a monster moving into the pond. It is almost certainly a dock spider, also called a fishing spider, one of the shoreline hunters in the genus Dolomedes. It is exactly where it is supposed to be. Ponds, marshes, streams, lake shores, docks, rocks, logs, and wet vegetation are its world. The line where land becomes water is not a boundary to it. That narrow, damp, buzzing edge is hunting ground, escape route, lookout post, and nursery. While a garden spider may hang a round web between plants and wait for wings to strike silk, a dock spider usually does something stranger. It waits on the shore and reads the water. Its size is the part that alarms people first. Large females can have a leg span broad enough to cover much of a palm, sometimes roughly 7 to 10 centimeters, depending on the species. On a pale dock board, that looks enormous. On a floating lily pad, it looks impossible. It seems built for walls, rafters, and dark corners. Yet there it is, at the pond edge, touching the surface, as if it understands something hidden there. And it does. The spider is not sitting there because it wants a confrontation. It is not watching for ankles. It is watching for insects. Mosquitoes, flies, moths, small aquatic insects, and other pond-edge prey all move through that thin zone above and below the surface. Some fall in, some struggle, some send tiny vibrations across the water or through the dock boards. To the spider, those movements can be information. The creature that looks like a threat to the backyard is often hunting the insects that make the backyard miserable. That does not mean it is harmless in the way a leaf is harmless. It is a spider. It has fangs. It has venom for subduing small prey. If grabbed, pinned, or trapped against skin, it can bite. Just as many animals defend themselves when handled. But its normal response to a person is not attack. It freezes. It runs. It slips into cracks, vegetation, or even onto the water. The danger people feel is usually bigger than the danger the spider presents. Watch it for another few seconds, and the fear starts to change shape. The legs are not just long, they are tools. The stillness is not emptiness, it is patience. The position at the pond edge is not random, it is chosen. That dark body at the dock is not an invasion. It is a native predator using the shoreline the way a heron uses the shallows, or a dragonfly uses the air above the reeds. The pond is full of hunters. Only some of them are easy to admire. A frog's strike is charming. A dragonfly's chase is beautiful. A fish breaking the surface feels alive and clean and wild. But the dock spider does its work with a body that triggers older instincts. Too many legs. Too sudden. Too close to the place where water and wood meet. So the choice at the pond edge becomes more important than it first seems. The spider has not crossed into your world as much as you have stepped into its. Long before the dock warmed in the sun, before the chair was unfolded, before the hand reached for a tool to crush it, this animal's kind was already using the shoreline as a place to hunt, hide, mate, and raise young. Its presence usually means the pond edge is alive enough to support it. The ripple fades. The spider's front legs rest on the water again, and what looked at first like a reason to panic begins to look like a question. How does an animal built like this live so comfortably on the surface of a pond? The spider shifts one leg, and the water holds. That is the first trick, and it still looks impossible up close. The surface bends under each foot, dimpling like clear skin, but it does not break. The spider's weight is spread across long legs, and the water's own surface tension helps carry it. Fine hairs along those legs repel water, keeping the body from becoming soaked and heavy. What looks like a creature stranded between land and pond is actually built for this exact border. It can stand there. It can skate. It can row itself forward with sudden strokes. If danger comes from above, it may rush across the surface faster than a person expects. If danger comes too close, some fishing spiders can slip beneath the water for a short time, carrying a thin layer of air around the hairs on their bodies like a temporary shield. So the pond is not an obstacle. It is a road. It is a hiding place. And it is a hunting field. The spider waits with its front legs touching the surface, not because it is resting, but because it is listening. The pond skin carries messages. A gnat tapping down, a fly struggling after a bad landing, a moth brushing the edge of a reed, a small aquatic insect breaking the surface film from below. Each movement sends out a pattern too faint for human senses, but not for the sensory hairs on the spider's legs. Wind can wrinkle the water. Leaves can fall. A fish can disturb the surface from below. The spider does not leap at every tremor. It waits through the noise, sorting motion from motion, reading the difference between random disturbance and prey in trouble. Its stillness is not fear. It is concentration. Then the signal changes. A small insect hits the surface near the dock and begins to struggle. Its wings stick. Its legs kick. The ripples widen. The spider turns before it seems to see anything at all. One moment, it is a dark mark on wet wood. The next, it is moving across the water with quick, rowing strides, closing the distance along a path that barely exists. This is why it is large. The size that makes people recoil is part of what lets it dominate this narrow hunting zone. A small spider might vanish into shoreline clutter. A dock spider can bridge gaps between boards, plants, and water. It can reach. It can hold position. It can seize prey at the edge of two worlds. Most of what it takes is small life that people barely notice until there is too much of it. Mosquitoes, flies, midges, moths, aquatic insects, other arthropods moving through the reeds and along the dock. A large fishing spider may sometimes catch a tadpole or a very small fish, but it is not some pond monster emptying the water. It is a generalist predator, one hunter among many. Its venom is made for prey like that. It subdues small animals the way spider venom is meant to do. Against a healthy adult human, this spider is not in the same category as the spiders people are taught to fear most. A bite can happen if it is grabbed, pressed, or trapped. It can hurt. It can leave redness or swelling. But the spider does not seek people out, does not patrol the dock looking for skin, does not defend the pond against you like a guard animal. Given space, it would rather vanish. That is the part fear often misses. The spider is trying to survive the giant above it as much as the giant is trying to understand the spider. And if the one on the dock is a large female, there may be more at stake than a single animal. Female fishing spiders invest heavily in their young. Some carry round, pale egg sacs in their jaws or beneath the body, burdened with hundreds of eggs. Later, they may build nursery webs in shoreline vegetation, not as traps for prey, but as protected places for spiderlings to emerge. A female may stay close, guarding that fragile cluster of new life, so the spider at the pond edge may not be a lone invader. It may be a mother. The reeds behind it may not be clutter. They may be a nursery. Killing it removes more than a frightening shape from the dock. It removes a hunter that was taking insects from the shoreline. It may remove a future generation that would have fed birds, fish, frogs, wasps, and other predators. It cuts one small thread from the pond's living edge. Leave it alone, and the system keeps moving. Insects rise and fall. Dragonflies patrol. Frogs wait. Birds watch from branches. Fish break the surface. The dock spider hunts and is hunted. It belongs to both sides of the waterline, part of the restless exchange between pond and shore. The best management is often nothing dramatic. Step around it. Give it distance. Let the animal that knows the pond better than you do continue its work. The next time the spider appears, the dock is quiet again. It is in the same kind of place as before, pressed low near the waterline, legs resting across damp wood and floating stems. At a glance, the old reaction is still there. The body is too large. The legs are too long. The stillness feels like a threat waiting to spring. But now the image has changed. Those legs touching the pond are not just legs. They are sensors. They are oars. They are bridges across a surface that most animals either sink through or avoid. The spider is not frozen because it is plotting an attack. It is waiting because waiting works. Every tremor in the water, every tiny impact, every trapped insect fighting against the surface film can become a message. The pond edge that looked like scenery is alive with signals. A mosquito lifts from the reeds. A beetle slips under a leaf. A fly lands too close to the wet margin and lifts away again. The spider holds its place through all of it, not wasting motion, not charging at shadows. It is patient in a way that makes more sense once the fear fades. This is not a creature out of control. This is a specialist. And that is the mistake people make with animals like this. They see size before role, speed before purpose, fangs before behavior. A sudden shape on a dock becomes a problem to solve, even when the animal is already solving problems of its own. Around a pond, the work is constant. Insects hatch, larvae rise, wings gather in the warm air. Frogs, birds, fish, dragonflies, beetles, and spiders all take part in the same exchange, each one feeding, hiding, breeding, and being watched by something else. The dock spider is not above that system. It is inside it. It eats, and it is eaten. A bird may take it from the boards. A fish may strike near the surface. A frog may lunge from cover. A wasp may find its young. The animal that seems so dominant when it startles a person is also vulnerable, surrounded by larger mouths and sharper eyes. Its size does not make it a villain. It makes it capable of surviving in one narrow, dangerous strip where land and water meet. That strip is easy to overlook. People notice the open pond, the lilies, the fish, the reflection of trees. They notice the dock because it is where feet go. But the margin is where much of the action happens. The wet boards, tangled roots, overhanging grass, floating leaves, and shoreline plants form a hunting ground and a nursery. For a fishing spider, this is not a random corner of the yard. This is home. So if it is carrying an egg sac, the decision matters even more. That pale bundle held beneath the body or in the jaws is not debris. It may hold hundreds of eggs. A nearby web in the vegetation may not be a trap at all, but a nursery, a sheltered place where spiderlings gather after hatching. The large spider guarding that area may be doing what many animals do in spring and summer, protecting the next generation. That does not mean anyone has to touch it. Respect does not require closeness. If the spider is on a chair, a ladder, or a place where it truly cannot stay, a container and a flat piece of cardboard can move it without panic. If it is simply on the dock, near the reeds, on a rock, or at the edge of the pond, the safest choice is usually the simplest one. Leave space. Walk around it. Let it disappear when it is ready. Because the real change is not in the spider. It was always this animal, shoreline hunter, water walker, vibration reader, insect catcher, mother, prey. The change is in the way it is seen. The shape that first looked like an intruder becomes part of the pond's design. The thing that seemed to demand a quick strike instead asks for a pause. The ripple reaches its legs again. This time, the stillness does not feel empty. It feels alert. The spider is reading a world that passes beneath human notice, a thin, trembling language written across the skin of the water. It belongs exactly where it is, at the edge, between reflection and shadow, doing quiet work, in a place where fear almost made the wrong decision. So when a giant spider waits at the edge of your pond, do not reach first for a way to kill it. Stop. Watch from a little distance, and let the hunter keep listening.